welcome back. Now, Tom, you had just told us that your new book, How 50 Couples Found Love After 50, was published in August. Mm-hmm. So tell us why you decided to publish it. It's one thing, you know, you've got a big following that reads your weekly email. So now, what brought this idea to get some of these love stories out?
I was starting to hear, this was 2.5, 3 years ago, from a lot of singles who said, in particularly women, they couldn't meet anybody, they had given up hope, they weren't going to try anymore, the internet was a bad place to meet people. But I knew that they were kind of wrong, because I had met somebody at age 58. Mm-hmm. And I had lots of the emails come in from the newsletter and from my newspaper columns that were success stories of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and some even in their 80s. Yeah. So I had a file of it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to produce a book to prove to singles that you can meet somebody, and not only that, here's how 58 couples did. And so you start to gather the stories. You have to get permission from people. People's lives change, and you know they notify you that. So you do have a motivation to get to the finish line, because they keep changing on you, you know. Yeah, but that's how it came about, and it became a real project of love and friendship, because you do grow attached to the people.
I'm sure you
do. You know, you feel like they are family, and they're sharing with you a lot of personal stuff. Some of it goes in, some of it doesn't go in, of course. So that's how the book was born.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's great. The title does say, you know, 50 couples, but you chose to do 58 couples.
Right.
Kind of like, why the difference? I mean, I can see why the title says 50 to 50. I mean,
the 50 was catchy.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the goal I had eventually. Started out saying maybe 30, but you keep getting more and more great stories. So my book designer and I agreed on the title that would be 50. And then I called her a week later and I said, look, I'm still getting some great stories I want to include. She said, go ahead and include them, but make the extra 8 stories bonus stories. I said, that's a good idea, because she really felt that the Finding Love After 50 was 50 couples.
50 couples found love after 50.
50 was a magic number, and that's why we kept it. And
that makes sense.
Yeah,
it really does.
So there are 8 bonus stories in this book.
Oh, okay, that's how we'll say it then. Kind of give us an idea of what was behind when you started. You kind of already hinted at it, but maybe expand on it. What this book is going to do to help singles.
Okay.
Both men and women.
Right. The first thing, I hope, is the word hope, that it will give them hope, because so many have given up on hope. And the second thing is the information on where and how they met people. You know, whether they met in church or in a deli or online, any place, because people will write me and they'll say, okay, give me a specific place where I can go where older singles my age hang out. Guess what? It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So they have to learn that just to get out and involved in activities they enjoy is where it may happen, it may not. But the important thing, if they get out, is they're enriching their lives, they're meeting new people, and
they're doing things they love.
Yeah, and it's easy as we age and grow older to come home at night, plop down on the couch, have a glass of wine, and you're too tired to go out.
Right.
And I understand that, but if you want to bring somebody else into your life and maybe help get rid of some loneliness, you need to put some effort into it, and you need to get up and get off the couch.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You are so right. You know, the possibilities are endless. So kind of like some of the things in your book is you go out there, you meet them, and what happens? You know, changes how you feel about things.
Well, Yes, it can. If you meet somebody you like, it'll really change how you feel about things. But I think when you're going out and dating, you just kind of have to reinvent yourself and just keep encouraging yourself, because singles and get a lot of rejection. Mm-hmm. And women maybe get more rejection than men because there's more women than there are men. And that's hard to take, because you may be a very successful person in business and in life, and yet you're getting this rejection. You know, we're not used to it. But it's a new ball game for all of us.
Yeah.
And when I say all of us, people in their 50s and 60s and 70s and even 80s, a lot of things that we thought were going to happen, we married to the same person for all those years, haven't.
Yeah.
And we, as a generation, have to adjust to that, and this dating thing is the biggest adjustment.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I really would. Let's tell people how they can get this book.
Can we do that?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, there's two places, Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
They can go on and just put in Tom Blake and my books will come up. Or the website, and we try to keep it simple, is 50couples.com.
Oh.
So it's just www.50couples.com.
Okay.
And it's available in those two.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we may have just enough time to talk about John Gray,
Okay.
who is the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he writes an introduction to your book. Now, how did you manage that?
I managed it because on my previous book, maybe 5 years ago, I approached John Gray and asked him if he would endorse it. Now, I almost had the book finalized at the printer. This is a former book. And then he came at the last minute and said yes. It was like 6 or 7 weeks later. And so it's a good idea to kind of keep in touch with the contacts like John Gray, and especially, frankly, his secretary.
Yes.
Because if she knows who you are, that'll open the door a bit. And so when I wanted to get, John Gray is the spokesperson for love in this country as far as the
He
man's
really
point
is,
of view.
yeah.
He is a genius.
We only have about 10 seconds. So.
Okay. Anyway, I wrote him. I got permission from him immediately, and that's why it's on the book.
That's why it's on the book.
Yes.
I think that's great. We've got one more break to
Okay.
take. And when we come back, I want you to talk about how you and Greta met, because I think
Okay.
it's a great story.
Okay.
So please stay with us. We're going to hear some personal things about Tom.